What's up, my friend? Welcome to the Finding Direction podcast. My name is Stu Massengill, and I'm here every single week to bring you a passionate guest or message dedicated to helping you find your purpose so that you can live a life full of passion, fulfillment, and happiness. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for hanging out with me, and let's dive in. What's up, my friend? Welcome back to another episode here on Finding Direction. This week, we are going to be talking about the art of asking for help. And I am truly excited as we dive into this week's episode because we're going to be talking about something that oftentimes I think people see as a weakness, but truly, as I've seen in my own life, is really something that can be a massive, massive superpower if you understand really, again, the art of asking for help. And to kind of share with you a little bit of what I mean, I remember, a moment in my life where, to give you a little bit of context, I had left school, as you probably heard on this podcast once before, if you've joined us before, and eventually I went back to school. And when I went back to school, I was finally at the point where I was about to graduate, and I was about 3 months away from graduating. And although I was truly excited to finally be done with school, because I don't really, love school, I also had some of those kind of nerves as far as like, okay, I'm stepping into this next chapter of my life. And I remember, ordering my my graduation gown and kind of starting to have some conversations with some of my initial relatives where they would ask, hey, what are you going to do when you go into this next step of your life? And I remember as I went through this sort of season of my life, I kind of had one of two options. And one option was as I talked to some of my relatives and family and friends and professors that I would talk to as I got closer to graduation. Option one was I could tell them, oh yeah, I got it all figured out. And I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I could kind of paint this almost facade of, man, I got it all together. I am good. I don't need help. I'm good. That was option one. And option two, which for me at that point was really the truth, was rather than telling my relatives I spoke to or my family I connected with or friends or professors, rather than painting a picture of, hey, everything's perfect, I know exactly what the next 50, 70, 80, 100 years of my life are going to look like, I decided to take a different approach of saying, I don't really actually know what this next chapter of my life is. And more importantly, I'd actually love some help. And what was so interesting is because I talked to, at that point, I think I had conversations with probably like 7 or 8, important people in my life. Instead of pretending like everything was perfect and I had everything together, I was able to actually gather 7 or 8 new perspectives and ideas and thoughts and approaches on what I could do as I stepped into this next chapter of my life because I was willing to ask for help and not act like everything was perfect. And once I had that sort of information from 7 or 8 people, I was able to kind of put my own lens on it and ultimately decide what I wanted to do with my life. But for me, it was such a powerful thing. I mean, it's one of the reasons I speak now, it's one of the reasons I work with Tony Robbins now, is because I took kind of all this different information and I was able to kind of figuratively lay it out on the table in front of me and look at, what do I like from this idea this person gave me? What do I not like about what that person told me? What do I, want to add to what this person recommended? And it allowed me to take some good things, leave some bad things, not take some things that I just didn't really, make sense to me, and ultimately kind of create my new picture for what I wanted that next chapter of my life to look like. And it's turned out pretty awesome because I took all of that advice, asked for help, and kind of created this next chapter that I've lived in for the last, handful of years. And so what we want to break down today is we want to look at, now that you kind of see how this can show up in your life, we want to look at the stigma of asking for help. We want to look at how to know when we should ask for help. We want to look at, who do we ask help for? And then ultimately we really want to look at as well, then once we know these other pieces, how do we then begin to start to ask for help? And and what's the art when it comes to that. And so the first thing we want to dive into when we kind of get into some of the tactics for today is talking about this sort of stigma that people have around the idea when it comes to asking for help. And when you look at asking for help in this idea, oftentimes people look at asking for help as a sign of weakness, right? A sign of, oh, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't know everything, you're not perfect, right? And oftentimes because of that, people don't ask for help because they see it as they're weak, right? They don't have it together. And the reality, in my own belief, is that asking for help is actually a sign of strength, right? When you ask for help, it's not saying to someone, hey, I'm worthless, or I don't have everything together, or I'm weak. What it's saying when you ask for help is it's saying, I'm looking to grow. I'm looking to learn. I'm looking to connect with others, build relationships, and rather than falling on my own face 7 or 8 times, I'm looking to gather information for, other people that I respect or maybe that have been through something I've been in my life, so that I don't have to fall on my face 7 or 8 times, but maybe once or twice, and maybe not even at all, right? So you want to start to understand that when you ask for help from people, oftentimes someone once said this to me, I thought it was such a beautiful thing, is when you ask people that are quote unquote above you, right? That are ahead of you in life, that are further down the road of you in the journey of life, oftentimes the people that are ahead of you never look down on you. It's oftentimes the people that are behind you, right? Or that are quote unquote underneath you that oftentimes have more negative judgment when it comes to that, right? It's the people that maybe also don't have their life figured out. And when you go and ask for help, they put a piece of judgment on you going, oh, you're asking for help, you're weak. But when you go actually ask someone that's 5, 6 steps down the road, they go, oh, wow, I actually really appreciate you asking me. Like, people find it kind that you would ask for their opinions. And second, then they actually give you some good advice because they've probably been where you've been once before in your life. And once you have those conversations, you're going to get an immense amount of insight, right? Understand that when you ask for help, it helps you solve problems more effectively. It helps you learn faster. It helps you actually build stronger relationships with people in your life. And so one last thing as we look at sort of the stigma is oftentimes, I think, when we think of asking for help, we can be afraid of things like rejection. We can be afraid of things like judgment. We can be afraid of things like burdening others with our asks. And also, we can be afraid that we're going to take a hit to the ego, right? A hit to, the ego says, hey, I got it all figured out. I'm perfect. I'm strong. I don't need anything from anybody. And when we ask for help, our ego almost has a moment where it goes like, it's like you're punching your ego in the face almost, right? But what you want to understand is if you learn to work with the ego, not have the ego control you, then asking for help can actually be a really good thing, right? And example, if you look and ask for help and you get rejected, then you can always ask somebody else for help, right? Yeah, if you go ask 10 people, you might have a few people that just go, hey, I'm busy in life and I just don't have time. Or you may have some people that don't respond to you, but that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't ask for help. It just means that if someone says no, then we'll go ask someone else, right? Someone once told me this other saying, I thought it was so smart. They said, some will, some won't. So what? Next, somebody's waiting, right? Some will give you advice. Some won't give you advice. So what, right? Next, somebody else is waiting to give you some help to really get you to that sort of next chapter and step of your life. So understand that even though there may be some rejection and maybe some people do give you judgment, but the reality is, who cares what other people think, right? It's your life. When you get to your deathbed and you're 300 years old or however you are when you get there, you're the only person that lived your life. So if somebody else judges you because you asked for help, well, I mean, who cares? It's their life. You're going to live your life. And if they're going to judge you for asking for help, well, then you probably don't even want that person in your life in the first place. All right. So now that we kind of have some ideas of what this stigma looks like, and I think really the proper stigma that we want it to have, right, that asking for help was actually a sign of strength, what we want to do is look at next Well, when do we actually start to ask for help? Like, when do we know that it's time to ask for help rather than trying to figure everything out on our own? And I would say that a few different ways it's kind of your radar can start beeping if it's time to ask for help is when you are, number one, stuck in your life, right? So if you feel like you're at a place where you keep hitting a wall or you keep running into an invisible ceiling and you just can't figure out how to get to the next step in your life, whether that's personally, whether that's professionally, whether that's your health, whether that's in your finances, right? If you feel stuck in an area of your life, that is a huge indicator to say, okay, maybe this is an area of my life I could ask for help, right? Now, if you, let's say, also want to maybe just gain a fresh perspective, right? Maybe you don't totally feel stuck, but you're debating what you want to do next. If you go ask for help, it can give you different perspectives on, again, kind of like I said, when I laid out figuratively the 7 or 8 people that gave me advice when I was graduating college, it allowed me to pick different perspectives, look at different perspectives, and ultimately pull from that to create my own perspective. All right. And another time when you can ask for help is simply if you're going through a tough time, right? If you're going through some trials, some tribulations in your life, and the truth is we all have moments of trials and tribulations in our life, this could be another great moment to say, okay, I'm kind of going through the shits. I'm going through a down moment in my life. I'm going through a valley. This can be another important sign, an indicator to say, hey, maybe this is a moment to take a step back, and rather than trying to figure it all out on my own, let me go ask someone for help. All right. So those are a few different ways. If one of those is currently happening in your life, what I would encourage you to do is rather than saying I'm stuck or I'm through a tough thing and I need to push through and push harder and figure this out on my own because I'm strong and I don't need anybody, I want you to try to flip the script in that part of your life and say, okay, what would happen if I actually sought out help in this area of my life, right? And next, what we want to look at is, now that we know the stigma, now that we know when to ask for help, we want to look at, well, who do you ask, right? And really simply, there's a few different people that I would encourage you to ask. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a mentor, or even a professional, right? Someone, let's say you're going through some trials and tribulations. This could be if you're struggling with depression, right? This could be you say, hey, I am going to go seek the help of a professional that can help me with the depression that I've been facing for a while. And there's someone out there. And this is something that's blown my mind. When it comes to, depression or something like that, there's people that have literally spent their entire life, their entire purpose in life is to help people who are depressed become not depressed. So what if you could seek help and find someone that has spent their entire life, their entire mission is to help you get better? Like, what an incredible person you could ask for help, right? And again, let's say you're stuck in life. This could be, let's say you're stuck in business. This could be asking someone for help that is a few steps further down the line than you, right? This could be asking your family members. Maybe they're not a few steps further down than you, but again, maybe they can give you fresh perspectives, different ideas, different outlooks on how you can approach the situation that you are currently in. What I would encourage you to do is find at least 3 people that you can ask, right? If you ask just one person, you're only going to have sort of one perspective and one idea on what else this might look like compared to your own perspective. If you ask 2 people, well, that's helpful. But when you ask 3, you really start getting different views, different ideas, different perspectives. And then what you can do is, again, once you have these different perspectives, you want to lay it out figuratively in front of the table, in front of you. You could even actually write it out physically if you wrote some things down. And then you want to take your own perspective, your own lens, and filter it yourself, right? Because someone may say something that you should do, and maybe that works for them, but maybe it doesn't work for you. But maybe if you change a few things about it, you could take some of the things that they suggested and apply that to your own life. All right. So get 3 people that you're going to ask for help, and then filter it with your own lens, and then you can begin to take action from that place. All right. Now, finally, the last thing that we want to run through today is, how do you actually ask for the help? And what I want to share with you today is a method that I like to call the ask method. ASC, right? So the ask method, but ASC is a real easy way to remember it. And the first thing you want to do when you reach out to ask somebody for help is you want to appreciate them, right? So really simple, whether you're reaching out to someone via a DM, whether you're reaching out to someone via a text, a phone call, an email, the first thing you want to do is really simply just show some appreciation. And when you do this, and this is really a key, make sure that you are genuine and authentic, right? Whatever it is, maybe they're someone you've had a relationship with for some time, and you could say, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm reaching out kind of randomly here, but I always appreciate that you've been just like a shining light in my life. You've always been someone who inspired me or, showed me really what, an incredible life could look like. Whatever it is, something that you can appreciate about them. That's how you want to start off the conversation. And then the second thing you want to do, right, ASC, is you want to share your question, right? So really simply, you could say, hey, I've been going through something in my life, and, because you, again, kind of inspire me in life, and I just seen this beautiful life you've created for yourself, I wanted to ask you a question about something I've been going through, and I would really, really just be grateful for your help. And then ask your question. Right? Again, you could do this on the phone. I would encourage, if you can, the phone's the best way. If you don't have access to them through a phone, you could do a DM, you could send an email, or whatever other way in which you can get in contact with them. All right? But you want to ask your question. Hey, this is what I've been going through. What would you do in this situation? This is what I've been going through. What do you think is the next step I should take? Right? Or what is something you think I could do to get unstuck in this area of my life? Right? Whatever it is, or what would you do in this situation? That's a great question you can ask, right? Paint the situation, say, what would you do if you were here? And that's going to give you a really clear lens and filter on what they would literally do if they were in your shoes. All right? So show some appreciation, ask the question, share your question, and then finally the C is you want to create something of value you can give back to them. Right? Create something of value you can give back. So once you ask the question, say, hey, I know you're busy, and I really just want to say thank you if you have the chance to respond to this. And what I wanted to do in exchange is, I wanted to send you just a $20 Amazon gift card for literally just answering this question. I really, really, again, am going through some stuff in my life, and I really appreciate your feedback and kind of your thoughts on this. I'd love to send you a $20 Amazon gift card, or, if there's a different place you like, I can send you for Starbucks or, somewhere else in your life that is a place you enjoy going, just as a way to say thank you for your time and your energy. And then what they'll do is a lot of the time they'll actually respond to you and they'll go, you know what, you don't need to send me a gift card, and sometimes they'll say, yeah, send me the gift card, right? That's true. But what it does when you wrap this all up, when you ask and you wrap it up with creating some type of value back to them, is it shows them that, hey, this person understands the law of reciprocity. This person understands that in order to get, you got to give, right? This person's not just coming to me to ask and take, but they're actually coming to me to also give me something. And a lot of the times when people, have someone that reaches out to them who is also offering to create something of value back, they may not even take the value. They're just going to appreciate that you actually are doing something to give value back to them. You're not just asking, but you're actually trying to find a way that you can give value back to them. All right. So again, what you're going to do is find 3 people that you can ask for help, and then simply use the ask method. A, appreciate them, right? Show them how you care about them. S, share your question with them. And then C, create something of value that you can give back to them. Now, I promise you that if you're feeling stuck, if you're going through trials and tribulations, if you're looking for some fresh perspectives as you approach something in your life, if you go ask 3 people and you use this ask method, the ASC ask method, what it's going to do is, I promise you, you're going to leave those 3 conversations having so much more clarity on what it is you need to do in the next chapter of your life, your career, your health, your relationship, your finances, whatever it is that you are currently focusing on. And remember, as we wrap up this episode, that asking for help is truly, it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. You're looking to grow. You're looking to get to the next level. You're looking to create a better life for yourself. You're looking to learn and connect and build relationships with people. So as you leave today, if there's one thing I want you to take from this episode, is changing the stigma you have when it comes to asking for help, that it is a strength, it is not a weakness. All right, my friend, go out there, start asking for help. And other than that, that is all that we have for you on today's episode. I want to say thank you, as always, for joining me on this show. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you got some value from today. As always, I hope you take the value from today and start applying it to your life. All right, my friend, have a wonderful, outstanding, incredible rest of your day. And I will talk to you on the podcast soon. Take care.